Morning, guys. Thanks for joining. How is everyone?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Very good,
Nice.
thank you.
Cheers, Rich. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Mel. Cheers,
Okay,
thanks,
thanks.
Just waiting on a few others. We've had a few people that can't make it this morning, and then we'll get into this for you guys. Give it a few minutes. Is there anything in particular anyone's looking to get out of today's webinar?
I think in particular, how much value is too much value?
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because sometimes a lot of people overload their prospects with too much information and end up talking industry jargon that individual then doesn't understand. So that's quite interesting. Anyone else? No. Okay, cool. Right. 11:02. Let's get into this for you guys. So we'll be about half an hour, maybe a little bit longer. We're going to go through why value is the new currency for B2B lead generation. And hopefully at the end of this webinar, you guys will go away and in your lead generation strategies, you will implement value. And by the end of it, you will understand why value is so important. So what I'll do, I'll start by just introducing myself. Okay, a little bit about me. I'm the director at Your Lead Machine. We're a lead generation agency. We work with businesses to help them generate new business leads to accelerate their growth. So whether that's logistics, software, professional services, construction, as long as it's a B2B service, we help them generate new business leads, okay? So what we're going to cover today, okay, so we're going to firstly understand what is the point of adding value to your lead generation process. A lot of people tell me, Coach, what do you mean by adding value? Where has this term come from? And a lot of people use the term, but maybe don't use it in the right way. We're also going to look at why your USP may not be doing anything in particular for yourself, okay? We're going to then go understanding the wealth that can come from value-driven conversation. So what can a value-driven conversation achieve for your business? And how do you create a value-driven content? So a bit like Richard just said, what is the real reason we're creating value-driven content? And how do we create it specifically to engage a prospect into our service offering? And finally, okay, how to incorporate value into a multi-channel lead generation strategy. So how do we take that value and then implement it into our lead generation strategy to identify new prospects and new clients? So what I will do, firstly, why do we need to add value to our prospects? So a lot of people come to me and say, Coach, why value? Why can't we just pick the phone up? Why can't we just email? Why can't we just go on LinkedIn? Well, unfortunately, we started as a telemarketing only agency. We've had to adapt. The days of just picking up the phone don't exist anymore. And a lot of people I speak to, they say to me, Coach, it used to be so much easier 10 years ago, 15 years ago, to just pick that phone up and speak directly to who we need to attract our prospects. Well, there's two key elements of B2B sales now in a buyer, and they're looking for two things nowadays. They're looking for trust and they're looking for credibility. And this has mainly changed across time because of a few key reasons. One of them is the world is waking up to straight line selling. So typically, if you look at an insurance organization, a financial services organization, they were using back in the day what they call straight line selling. So it's how can we get from point A to point B as quickly as we can without the client objecting. And what they would do is they would have certain parts along their sales process that they know they're going to get an objection, but they would predetermine those objections. What would happen by the end of that? The individual would get carried through the process and they would buy at the end of it. What's happening now is people know about straight line selling. Jordan Belfort writes about it a lot in his books. People have watched The Wolf of Wall Street. The media has opened our eyes up to straight line selling. So now people are buying upon trust and credibility. So firstly, one of the reasons we create value is we want to build trust with our prospects. Why should they speak to you? For example, Mel, I know you're a VA, you've been doing it for a long time. That trust that you have to show your prospects that, you've not just appeared out of the pandemic, you've been doing it before all these solopreneurs appeared after the pandemic, okay? You've been doing it for years. How can we show a prospect trust or are we just another VA like the rest of them? Okay. And secondly, credibility. Okay. So how can we show our prospects we're credible? How can we show them we know what we do? Because when a B2B buyer is looking to purchase, they're looking at 4 things. Okay. And these are the 4 things. They're looking at capability. Are you good at what you do? Okay. So first of all, capability. In your messaging, in your value offset, how capable are you of doing what you are telling them you're going to do? And can I trust you with the work output? Trust, once again, okay? So capability, number 1. Are you capable to do what you're telling me that you're going to do? And how can you prove that to me? Number 2, dependability. Will you show up and are you going to meet your commitments? Can I trust that you're going to do what you say? Once again, that word trust appears again. Capability, dependability, okay? Number 2, integrity. Do you have a virtue of purpose? Once again, can I trust you will do the right thing by my business, even if it's not in the interest of yourself? I'll give you an example. Had a chat with a local customer, they do digital signage. We went to market with their product, okay, to estate agents, to dental practice, to opticians. Unfortunately, the campaign didn't work. So rather than keeping that client hoping in month 2 we're going to get results for them, we went back to them and said, Mr. Customer, you know, the market is so cluttered, I don't think there are results here to have. I wouldn't want to waste your money further. I think you should maybe look at digital marketing instead of outbound direct lead gen. Customer was happy, I was happy. 2 weeks later, he's referred a new customer to me, okay? Integrity is really important. And finally, intimacy. How well do I know you? Once again, can I trust you? And what's the strength and depth of our relationship, okay? People are buying off of relationships. The big problem is, and we'll come on to this in a second, that crazy acronym USP, okay? It's really frustrating because a USP isn't value, it's a statement. I could stand there and go, we're the greatest lead generation agency the world's ever seen. That's not my USP. Okay, I'm just talking for the sake of talking, right? So through value, we need to show, number 1, our B2B buyer, are we capable to do what we say we're going to do? Number 2, can they depend on us to pull through with the results? And if we don't generate them the results they need, are we going to suggest how we're going to generate those results? Number 2, are we integral to our word? Are we going to do right by the customer, or are we going to do what's in our interest? And intimacy, how good is our relationship with that individual? Everyone on this call will have a client they can think off the top of their head who literally probably use them because of the relationship they have. Okay, you've got at least one, if not more, because they like you. A lot of people pop up out of the blue, they make quite a bit of revenue in 2-3 years and they're gone. That's because they don't have one of these 4 key pillars nailed down. Normally it's integrity, okay? Moving on from this, what is your business's USP? So if anyone wants to just come off mute and tell me what their USP is, I'll be more than happy for that. Anyone? Rich?
I'm thinking about that one, and I think mine in particular is that I work with HR professionals because I've been an HR professional before. So I don't act in competition with them. I work in collaboration with them when they have tricky problems, but I'm not sure if that's a USP.
Okay, interesting. That's good. Mel?
Well, I think in addition to providing general business support in terms of admin, we can also manage your social media and provide bookkeeping services. And many VAs do not provide an additional bookkeeping service and social media services.
Okay, brilliant. And Stuart, one more. Stuart there. Let's go to Tim. Tim?
Thank you. Our unique, I guess it's to do with our the way we offer our services in a cost-effective way, because we're a not-for-profit and we have economies of scale. But I mean, that's hardly sexy, is it really? It's just fact.
Right? That's
And
fair
we are
enough.
fairly unique. I mean, there is no one else who does what we do in the scale we do it. But again, that's not enough, is it? That's not enough
No.
to get the business.
And it's how do you portray that message? So everyone has seen these three USPs being used, and how many times have you seen them? Customer service is not a unique selling point. Please, everyone digest that information, okay? Because if I lined up 10 lead generation companies for one of you to choose, me and the other 9 are going to say they do good customer service. So at the point of transaction, you can't tell if I'm going to give you good customer service. So if anywhere in your literature, you're pushing out there that customer service is one of your key elements of business, that is not a USP. It's lazy because it's easy, okay? Customer service should come in the client retention process. Once you get your client onboarded, that's when they're going to see what you're about. Because everyone can say it, we've got to prove it. Secondly, price. We've all heard it. Oh, you know, I'm so competitive, price is my USP. It's not. You can't, price is not a unique selling point, okay? It's your price. Like, you can't go advertising B2B world with your price first, because there's going to be competition everywhere. And thirdly, quality. Once again, I line up 10 VAs, okay, they're all going to tell me they're good at what they do. So your USP should differentiate you at the point of transaction, not at the point of after sale, because that USP is going to attract the client in. So Rich, for example, you mentioned that you work with HR because you don't work in competition with them. There's some magic there that can be worked on to make a really good, powerful, unique selling point there, okay, because it's specific. Okay, that statement in its own right is very specific. Okay, so if you hear someone say customer service is USP, price is USP, quality is USP, it's not. That's why, in my perspective, a USP is a statement that is dying in marketing. Because now more than ever, there are more SMEs out there. Because whatever you're saying, they're saying the same thing. Okay, and the number one, customer service, please understand that is not a USP. Okay, so the 3 key channels to provide value to your prospects, what are they? Number 1, content marketing, blogs, okay? 3 resources, white papers, case studies, value. We're putting a proposition in front of our clients or prospect who will see what we are capable of doing through our white papers, blogs, case studies. Each little element of content marketing has its own bright in your marketing process. So your blogs should be to engage and interest, not to sell. They should have some clickbaity title that would encourage an individual to click. They should not be to sell your services. They should be to express your value and your respect in your industry. So when that problem arises, when that challenge arises, they know who they need to speak to, because at the time you distributed some knowledge upon them. Okay? Case studies. Case studies are all emotion-led. Okay, you should have a case study for each one of your 5 top core markets that you're targeting. Because if Mr. Prospect is interested or Mrs. Prospect is interested, we will send out a case study directly to them to put them in the shoes of another logistics-based business that we've had great results for, that Merle has helped exceptionally, that Richard's helped, that Tim's helped, that Emily's helped, that Daisy's helped, that Stuart's helped. Okay? We really need to ensure that with this case study, we are writing them a story for them to place themselves in the sea. You're basically putting them on a theme park ride that's going to take them through a journey of what it's like to work with you. You're going to tell them why Mr. Customer engaged with you, because they may be going through the same pain point. Okay? You're also going to tell them how they felt when they first engaged with you compared to after the relationship went on, what the results were of them working with you. Okay? So we need them to feel everything through a case study. Okay? Now, finally, white papers. White papers are priceless. The world's going back to what it was, okay? All these years ago, white papers were very, very influential, and then they sort of went dead. They are the best way to show your value to a specific market sector. And normally you would provide white papers for those that market that's going to buy your high ticket item. So whatever your package A is, whatever your offering of A is, that market needs to know that you are an expert at what you do, okay? We've got number 2, video marketing. So it could be a webinar, it could be your YouTube, it could be LinkedIn videos, okay? How are you providing value through this to your prospects, okay? Are you coming on the video to sell? Are you coming on the webinar to sell? Are you coming on YouTube to sell? Or are you saying, look, here's a bit of value. You know I know what I'm on about and it's going to help you. And if you need me in the future, I'm here. Okay? We need them to know we are experts. And finally, social media marketing. Massive, okay? How frequent are you on LinkedIn? And how frequently are you talking about your dog or cat on LinkedIn? Because quite frankly, in my opinion, no one cares. Okay? Because it's a business-based platform and it is going a little bit left, okay, which is absolutely fine. And every now and then a personal post about business success or your 5-year anniversary in your business, your 10-year anniversary, great. People love that, okay? But keep your profile value-driven and understand this, 10% of your LinkedIn profile connections will interact with you. The other 90% you'll never hear from. So don't try and tailor for the 100%. You know your markets because you've done your demographic before. Your content should be targeting your top 5 markets. So every time they read something you're putting out there, they are thinking, oh God, you know, this might be a challenge in their situation, in their industry, okay? Don't do your LinkedIn for likes. Likes are vanity, okay? Comments is where the sanity is at and that gets a longer reach, okay? A lot of people come to us in the tally marketing. How many dials do you do? It's a load of rubbish. Who cares? How many leads do you generate? That's what's more important. Okay. So when we're doing our social media marketing, how much value are we offsetting? Go back to Rich's question about how much value is too much value. I think no value is too much as long as it is put in a way and it is expressed in a manner that everyone can understand. Because typically in the B2B world, those that are in your industry are not going to be your customer. So we have to talk as if we're talking to someone who doesn't understand anything that we do. Okay? Be very precise, be very professional yet friendly in how we offer this value. Because I don't know how many of you have been to mechanics, for example, something wrong with your car. I had it the other day, you know, there's a stone in my wheel arch and it was cracking. And I thought, oh God, this is a big problem here. Took it to the mechanic's garage and he started laughing. And I thought, what are you laughing for? And he pops the stone out and he goes, oh, it was obviously a stone. And I went, but it's not obvious because I'm not a mechanic. Okay. And there's always situations like this that we've probably had in interactions with other businesses or business owners or employees where they just make it feel like, oh, you should know. But your target doesn't know, hence why they're coming to you to know. So you've got to help them understand. Okay. So everyone can say they can do it. The reason we offset value in a lead generation process is we're proving that we can do it. Okay. How many people do you know in your industry? You have to say names, but you will know they are not competent enough to do the task they're quoting for. I've come across loads of people when we're tendering for work, okay, because they specialize in digital or they specialize in something else, but they've launched this other arm of their business, okay? We can all say we can do it. I could say I could sell FSB services, but deep down I couldn't because I haven't proven it. So through our content, what we're looking to do is we want to prove it. We want to prove through the value we're offering. Look, we are going to do it and we're going to do more than what you need, okay? What can a value-driven conversation do for me? Okay. Number one, people are buying experts. No one wants a generalist anymore. Okay. People do not want to buy generalists. They want to buy an expert. They want to invest in an expert. And people are actually at a stage now where they want to go, right, here's your job. Go and do it. Bring the results back to me. Okay. If the pandemic has taught anyone anything, it's the fact that head count is a cost. So a B2B business uses us so don't have to employ in-house and use a lot of your services so don't have to either, okay? So if they're trying to manage headcount, because the stress of people, we know this, okay, why would they invest in a generalist where they're going to have to manage them anyway? They want to give you the work with a brief, crack on. Okay, so we have to position ourselves in our marketplace as an expert. We have to be that number one person that they come to for a certain thing. So I know for us particular, we're concentrating on becoming experts in the SaaS industry, software as a service, for lead generation. We get a lot of inquiries now because the way we position the business is we're talking about SaaS all the time, and it comes from SaaS. Okay. Number two, knowledge transaction. The worst case of any conversation is that someone walks away going, this person knows what they're talking about. I'm a firm believer in no conversation is a bad conversation. And I think you should always be open to that, because 4 years ago when we started this business to now, we still get inquiries or referrals from individuals that we spoke to 4 years ago, and they pop up on LinkedIn or they pop up on the phone, say, I've got something for you here, coach. That's because when we had that first interaction with them, we transacted knowledge. So through your conversations you're having, how regularly can you transact that knowledge? Okay. And number three, if you're providing value to someone and having a good conversation, you're going to naturally build trust. Your clients are too busy to speak about how they are and how their holiday was. They don't want to talk to you. They've got friends. Yeah, they've got family that they're going to discuss their trip to Portugal with. They want to know what you can do for them and how trustworthy and how credible you are at doing that. So when we're having a value-driven conversation, if the prospect turns around saying, it's not right now, that's fine. Doesn't mean you kill the conversation off, because we want to build enough trust there. So in 2 months, 3 months, they re-engage with us. So people buy experts, knowledge transaction, and building trust, okay? Now, how do I create value-driven content? This is where everyone struggles, because there is a set process to create value-driven content that will engage people to buy. So some of my clients, they have value-driven content. They don't want anyone to come back to them on that. And then they'll have a bank of value-driven content for their lead generation process. Okay. So number one, we need to understand from our 5 core markets before we go away and create this value-driven content, what do they want to know from us? Now, how do we do that? We look at, have we transacted with that market before? What were the pain points for them to engage with us? Why did they engage us? And we scale it. We go, right, we've got these 3 key reasons. Marketing is a game of averages. We know X% of the market will have these problems right now. Let's go to market with this. Okay, so what is the pain, I guess, that your prospect could be facing? What do they want to see? And what's going to get them to have a conversation with you? Okay, because when it comes down to conversation, that's when the value-driven conversation starts. But through the content, we need them to come and speak to us, or at least give us the opportunity to speak to them. Okay, number 2, relevance. Really important. How can we create relevance with our prospect through our content? Everyone thinks they can write content. They can't. You know, there's people out there that charge £500 for a blog. They're awful. And there's people that charge £50 for a blog, still awful. Okay. We need to know how to write content in a lead generation process. If you want content to just put on your website, that's fine. It's never going to do anything for your business. Okay. So how are we making our content relevant to the market we're targeting? Okay. Well, we want to make our offering, our trust, our value real. We need them to feel it. We need them to feel it emotionally. So it's about using the emotive language of, you know, typically our clients find. All right. So we want to put them in the shoes of our clients. After working with us, our clients feel. Okay. Having the peace of mind means our clients feel. We want to make them feel something, because we started with the logic. We're going to emotion now. Okay. And then we're going to go back to logic. Step 3. We want to do some research in our field, because let's be honest, you could talk for hours, or you could give some numbers over for 2 minutes. What's going to get the better return? Statistics. For some reason, humans, the way our brains are, we love numbers, we love stats, we love graphs, we love visuals, and they're believable, aren't they? I could put a random figure on this board and you're probably going to go, oh, that's right. Not many are going to go away and Google it and work it out. Okay, so we want to understand what our prospects want. We want to create relevance with them. And then we want to finish it off with some statistics to show we are the expert here. And that should be a 3-step process to creating a value-driven piece of content for lead generation. Understand what they want, relevance, statistics, to make it real. Leads us on to our next thing. We could be hours talking about emotions and logic, okay? When people buy something, especially B2B buyers, they are getting invested due to emotion, whether that's a pain, fear, or a thrill. Very rarely will it be a thrill if it's a B2B purchase, unless it's a staff day out or something like that. But still, the reason they're engaging in a staff day out is because their staff morale is low. So it's actually a pain, it's not a thrill. Very often in B2B sales, it's going to be fear or pain. Okay, so we're going to capture them through our content by making them play. We're going to play on their emotion of what they're feeling. And how do we do this comfortably? Well, we make them feel comfortable and part of a group. We don't isolate them. Now, a lot of people in marketing, they tend to isolate their clients when they're having a pain or a fear, which is interesting because you want that client to feel like everyone feels like that. So they will open up more to you. You know, if you isolate them, they're going to go into a shell. They're not going to tell you what the actual problem is. They may feel dumb telling you that they can't do a certain thing. We don't want our client to feel dumb. We want them to feel like this happens regularly. People are always coming to us with this problem. Okay. Once you get into the emotion, it comes down to pound signs, which is logic. Okay. So we need also logic to back this up, which is where the stats come into it. Okay. On how we're going to prove to the prospect that they need to talk to us and that actually our offering is worthwhile. So every value-driven conversation starts with emotion and it ends with logic. Because when they transact with you, they're going to start with emotion. At a point of transaction where they sign that contract, the emotion's gone. Because by the time you send that contract out to them, whether it's post, whether it's e-proposals, whether it's an email proposal, you're not in their moment anymore. That emotional moment's gone. Then logically thinking about this now, okay? So you've got to tee it up so well when you do play on the emotion, when you're on the phone, when you have a meeting, when you're in coffee with them, that when they get the proposal, it's not just a piece of paper. That piece of paper is their solution. A lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of salespeople fall short at proposal stage. Do we think that's because the proposal's not good? No, it's the stage before. Okay, we haven't done the process correctly. We haven't gone into their emotion enough for when the proposal arrives, it's not just a piece of paper. Okay, so emotion first, back your value-driven concept with logic. It's almost a mini pre-close for when you tap into their emotion when they do speak to you, and then you send the proposal, which is a logical part of the sales transaction. Always end your value offering in a lead gen process with a CTA, call to action. Very simple marketing knowledge. A lot of people don't do it. You need to end with a CTA, okay? Whether that be an invite to a webinar, whether that be a book a 15-minute call, whether that be a link to go through to a landing page where they leave their details, you then phone them back. Because the worst thing we want is spend some time writing a value-driven piece and then they go away and don't do anything with it. We need to make it easy for these buyers to transact with us, okay? I'm sure you've seen it. You may have even done it. People don't put a CTA. Well, how does the prospect know where to go next? It's our journey. It's your sat nav taking you to Birmingham, but it only gets you to the top of the M25. Where do you go? You don't know. Okay, so we need to end our offering every time with a CTA, call to action. So our 3 key lead gen channels for direct outbound and how to incorporate value into these. Okay, so these are the 3 key channels that we use for our campaigns, for our clients, when we're offering value-driven lead gen, outbound, direct lead gen, okay? There's multiple other channels that individuals use. We use these 3, so I can talk to you about them. Email, number 1. Email is a channel that email marketing is not that strong unless you're sending out 5,000, 15,000 emails a week. And then they're part of a sequence of that same individual is receiving another one the week later, another one the week later, another one. What happens here is you often lose credibility in the business if you're emailing someone 4 times without response. They've already got a sour thought in their head about your business, okay? People don't like to be pestered. The email of a lead generation process should be to build credibility and put the company's name in the mouth of the decision maker. So you would reach out to a DM with an email, and you would attach a PDF white paper. You would attach a case study that is relevant to that marketplace. Okay? You are not trying to sell to this individual. You're trying to get them to transact in a conversation with you. Just a conversation. Okay? Because as we know, everyone on this call, once we speak to people, that's easy because we all have good personalities. We know how to sell our product and we know what to talk about. The hardest part is having that conversation. So your email should always be used as credibility. Should never be sales. LinkedIn. Now, whilst you're emailing people on LinkedIn, or you might be direct messaging people on LinkedIn, you have to be putting out value from your profile, okay? Whether that be a meeting you've been to. Interesting, I just went to meet you might put on there, just when I met an engineering company, they were really they're talking about how they're really struggling to access the print market to sell their banding machines. Really interesting day, put a great presentation and strategy together. Look forward to going to market with XYZ Engineering. So any other engineering contact on your page is seeing that, oh, they know the market, especially if they're targeting the print market. Once again, 10% of our 100%. Okay, we need to be connected to relevant individuals. You may put out a carousel, if any of you have seen them on LinkedIn, okay, explaining maybe a pain point. So maybe an FAQ, or typically people approach us because, and then as they slide through, they see why. So we're connected with these individuals, we're offering them value, we're not showing them pictures of our cats, okay? They're getting something from us, we're experts. And thirdly, telemarketing. People always say, how can you give value over telemarketing? Well, stop selling, don't pitch a solution down the phone, that's number one, okay? Have an educational conversation that provides value to the decision maker to make them want to have a proper conversation with you on Zoom, Teams, face-to-face, half-an-hour phone call. If you're trying to close something on a telemarketer, it's never going to work. You've got to offset value through conversation. And that means investing in an expert, okay? Not investing in a generalist for that kind of service. You are the expert. If you get someone in to do that for you, they must know your industry. They must know the key terms. They must know exactly what you can do to help that individual, which comes down to you guys as decision makers. How well is the training offered? Okay, so everything always comes back to us. As I did that last webinar, we want to help you fully benefit from this webinar. So if you want to spend half an hour with me creating a value-driven lead gen strategy, put yes in the chat and I'll get in touch with you after the call and we can spend half an hour on a Teams call. If you're local, we can do it over a coffee and we can just work out how we can help you create a value-driven lead generation strategy, okay? So why is value the new currency for B2B lead generation? Interesting title, okay? And I think a lot of you may be thinking, what does Coach mean by why is value the new currency for B2B lead gen, okay? Well, number one, prospects now more than ever are buying upon trust and credibility. So 67% agree a good reputation may get me to try a product, but unless I come to trust the company behind the product, I will soon stop buying it. Trust, credibility. Okay, you need to be credible in your marketplace. And this, for a lot of businesses, means slow down to speed up. You may have heard the term before. A lot of business coaches use that term. It's very true. If we're going at 100 miles an hour, you're not credible because you've got clients coming in the door. There's no service here, and they're going out the back door. And then they're going to tell 5 other people that they didn't get the service that was promised. Now your market is slowly closing. 3-4 years, you've touched everyone you can. Next thing you know, you've got no client base. Short-lived sales journey, short-lived business journey, okay? Everyone knows, I don't care what market you're in, what's the one thing the pandemic's done? It has pulled out businesses left, right, and center, okay? People think they can do it themselves. Fair play to them, okay? Market's overpopulated and you've got to stand out against your competition. Since 2001, there's been a 61% rise in SMEs. That number's only going up since the pandemic. 61% more competition for us, okay? So whilst they are doing the old school way of selling and marketing, why don't we position ourselves as an expert so people naturally come to us? So much easier to have a conversation with someone when they come to us rather than us forcing a conversation upon them, okay? And finally, people are more inclined to invest in an expert rather than a generalist. 94% of B2B buyers conduct some degree of research before making a business purchase. Now, for that 94% that conduct research, I don't know what the other 6 are doing, because I would never, look at buying a business purchase without doing some research. If they come across you as an expert, or they come across you as a generalist, okay? If you're an expert, they're going to transact with you. They're going to want to talk to you. Once again, if they want to talk to you, the conversation is so much easier, okay? So I guess what I'm trying to say from a value-driven content and why value is the new currency for B2B lead generation is the lead generation landscape is changing, okay? And as a forward-thinking B2B business, you have to adapt to the way you engage with your prospects. The days of making $500 a day, sweating and having 300 people in a call center, or knocking doors, sending 1,000 flyers a day, sending 1 million emails a week, they're done. We have a clear motto here at Your Lead Machine: work smart, not hard. Where a lot of people go wrong, they believe in hustle culture. So when times are tough, they defer to hustling. What I mean by hustling is, I'm going to do 10 hours on the phone. But I can promise you only half an hour of that 10 hours will you ever be at your ultimate. So why not just do 3 half an hours throughout the day for your own business, when you can dial in for half an hour and really focus? Okay, working smart is really important, and how we distribute our time, because everyone's got families, everyone's got friends, everyone's got lives. So I'm a firm believer, if you get your marketing right and the values there, and you position yourself as an expert, you can clock off at 5:30. People say, I work the weekend. What did you do? What are you doing? You don't need to work the weekend. Just work smart in the week and use your hours wisely, okay? Does anyone have any questions upon all that? And there's a lot of information there to take in. Feel free to just come up here if you have any questions.
I think you explained it very well. Thank you.
No worries, Tim. That's fine. Yeah, there's a lot there.
It always makes perfect sense when you hear it, doesn't it? And then you try and apply it. That's, yeah, the fun bit.
No, of course. But as I say, if you need any help with it, you know where we are. Me, Drew, Maddie, whoever you need, we can help you out with it. But I appreciate you guys turning up. So if you have any questions, please drop me an email. I can't actually see the chat box yet. I will in a second. So if anyone did say yes, I'll get in touch with you after the call. But I hope that was beneficial, and hopefully it will boost and accelerate your lead generation process, and sort of create a web for clients to come to you. Because often what I find is when clients come to you, they are normally, the longevity of that client is much better because they've trusted you in the first place. Whereas if you're going directly to a new client or a new prospect to bring that trust, you already started on the back foot because they may not trust you straight away. So really concentrate on the value, see what you can do. Tim?
Just say Emily had a question in the chat box I can read to you if you can't
Yeah,
see
go.
the box. And Emily asks, how do you think value-driven content will make you stand out to your competitors?
Yeah, I think it's a simple one, really. It's a really good question. How does it make you stand out? Well, it positions yourself as an expert in your industry, okay? Whilst everyone else is down here swimming and trying to swim, okay, you're up here, and letting people come to you. So producing value-driven content to stand out against competition is really important because you're almost not competing with them. What you're saying is, this is us. If you like it, get in touch with us. We're not getting involved in the price war, because when there's competition, then that's when the price war comes. I would typically walk away from a tender if there's more than 2 parties involved. That's my personal opinion. I walk away from it, okay? Because then someone cuts their price, someone else cuts their prices. We don't cut our price, we have one price. But that's because of the value we offset, we know it's worth it. So I think having that value against your competitors what you're telling your prospects as well is, look, we are experts, and if you want to pay the price that we charge, you can pay it, or you can use what's below us. A good question, Emily. Hope that answers it for you.
Do you still believe that people buy people?
Yes, massively. Massively. Everyone will sell based upon who they are. I could put all my clients in a room, they would all get on. Every single one of my customers, for example, personally, they're a bit different to my business partner Drew's clients because we're different people. I could go to lunch with them, to dinner with them, go for a drink at the pub, play around the golf. There's similarities in all of our clients. That's because we've sat down and actually done a full day session with the team here of a persona. We've gone through all of our top 30 clients of all time, and you can put them in a bracket. And that's because people buy people. So yeah, very evident. The value will help you build that conversation, because once you guys have a conversation, you're fine. We just gotta have that conversation.
You know, this is about getting to that stage, isn't it?
Exactly right. But yeah, firm believer, people buy people, more so now than ever. There's been the Barclays ad. I don't know if anyone's seen that, and it's that lady on the phone, and she goes, "Look what I did there." Has anyone seen that? Where she takes the bank details. Basically, Barclays put a campaign.
Yeah, it's a scam.
Yeah, Barclays put a campaign out there, and that ad was massive. And what that actually showed people was, it's taught the public that we need to buy from people we know, we trust, we like, and not from a phone call. So very rarely would you sell anything directly over the phone now in one phone call. You'd have to have a coffee, a meeting, or an appointment to build that conversation, that likability with the individual.
And don't you think the scam culture is part of the problem, though?
Yeah, exactly. That has affected the reason why it's not as easy now to pick the phone up, like I said at the start, and book an appointment. People are wary, okay? It's just another reason why we've got to position ourselves as experts and say, look, you can talk to us, rather than we're going to have a script in front of us, a book that we keep rolling the pages, and we're going to carry you through that. And as I said, I think people now know what a script is.
Oh, absolutely. And also it does help having a track record, good reviews. I mean, I do a lot of targeted marketing on LinkedIn, and I get some engagement, but I can't say it's very easy, particularly on LinkedIn, to develop leads.
Yeah. LinkedIn is a really interesting one. So we run that as a standalone service for our clients as well, okay? What we do for our clients is we actually do a LinkedIn Connect direct message process. So we would connect with the target market using Sales Navigator, and we would have a predetermined message that our content writer writes for our clients, okay? And then we would pass that message on to our connection when they connect, wait 48 hours, so they know it's not a bot, send a message, and we would add a personal line on there. Really important on LinkedIn to be personal. So let's say you've moved office, let's just say, okay? Oh, Mel, I see you moved office, it looks great. The reason I was getting in touch was, it shows you've done your research and taking your time to get to know them.
It's very time consuming, but it is very valuable.
It's very worthwhile, yes.
Yeah, very worthwhile.
Brilliant, cool. Anyone else? Any questions, any thoughts, any comments? No, we're good? Cool, well, really appreciate you guys turning up today. As I say, I'll get in touch if you need anything. If you need anything, please email me. It's coach@yourleadmachine.co.uk. And we'll do a next webinar in 3 months' time on a different topic of lead generation. And I'll send the invites out to you guys as well. All right.
Lovely. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you very much. Cheers for joining.
Thank you, Coach.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.